The Morning Dump from Hurrdat Sports with Andrew Rogers and Damon Benning.
You got that right, DB. Next to me, Andrew Rogers here. It's The Morning Dump, the only place for extra thoughts, extra conversation. And how about a carryover from yesterday, DB? A lot of noise surrounding the Nebraska football program, but nothing major dropping just yet.
Yeah, a lot of time. Yesterday was like a game of semantics. What's a meeting? What's not a meeting? Could we just shoot the breeze? Could I run some ideas by you? How many are in attendance? Like, it was childish. The thing that bothered me about yesterday is this weird need to be right. And I think sometimes we get all super disjointed about, do you want to be right or do you want to get it right?
What do you mean by be right?
So because I think something and I said it first, I want to be right.
Got it.
Or when it comes to conflict resolution, or, right, like you see it a lot of times in couples. You'll see it a lot of times. Sometimes we see it if it's an unhealthy coaching staff. Sometimes you see it in coaching staff, right? Hypothetically, let's say it's I'm a passing guy. I come up with passing concepts, and these concepts should work. When they don't work, it's this guy's fault and this guy's fault and this guy's fault, as opposed to maybe I should do something different. So you rather be right,
placing blame,
than get it right. And I'm a big no BCD guy. No blaming, no complaining, no deflecting. Right? Like, that is...
Good thing you put that in BCD order and not like CBD or anything.
I don't even know what that stands for. I just know that, like, there were times I would do these endorsements and I wasn't supposed to say it in that order.
Right.
So, remember those days, Shane? So the cool thing is like, I know you're not an acronym guy. I'm a big acronym guy, right? Like, so...
Spell it out for me. I need it on paper.
So I'm E plus R equals O. Event plus response equals outcome. There's only one of those things that I can control, and that's my response. So I'm a big, what could I do differently? What was my role in this based on what I want the desired outcome to be? So, like, I think that's conflict resolution. I think that's coaching. I think that's teaching.
That's how you live your life.
But I'm serious. It sounds like...
You calculate everything in life?
No. So, yes and no. Like, my personality, I'm a squirrel, right? I like to have a good time.
You like to chew on wires?
I'll test to see if I'll get shocked.
Selfish.
I don't like to be boxed, but I'm not a risk taker. So I think that's
sounds
just
like somebody else I know that we talked about prior to the show.
Yeah, it's just the duality of my personality, right? Like, I'm competitive, so I'll try it. Oh, I'll try it, especially because I'm used to being coached, right? So if you said, hey, you know what, DB, I need you to land the plane sooner, or you know what, like, I need you to, when we get ready to go to break, this is what I want you to do. I'm probably not going to fight you over that. I'm going to say to myself, okay, what's he saying? What's the desired outcome? What could I do differently? So it's good and bad. Like, sometimes I'm gonna get ran over, right? Like,
it's a lot about the approach too.
Or delivery, and
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
a lot of people. So
I'm not gonna come at you defensive.
Yeah, so Severe is funny, right? Because I've known him for almost 20 years, and I always used to tell him, I'm like, golly, man, your delivery sucks. He's like, the only people that care about delivery are blank and blank. And I'm like, well, I'm not going all misogynistic, but, like, I do think it matters. Like, tone matters. So we've had, like, this running joke for overtime. He just tweeted at me a couple days ago, and he was like, tone at Damon Benning, because
I saw that
somebody
and did
said,
not know the inside joke.
But that's the inside joke, because I've always told him that I think delivery matters. It's like if I said, you asked me, we're talking about, Creighton last night, and I go, man, did you see the way they shot the three? Or I go, do you see the way that they shot the three?
Two different outcomes.
That's tone actually matters, right?
Oh, it always matters.
So
I
think it's more important sometimes.
And
than
that's
we give
why
it
I'm a
credit
phone
for.
call guy. Because
you said that the other day, and I
text-
cringed. I was like, "Oh fudge!" I was like, "I'm terrible with my phone."
Yeah.
But you can call me. I'll answer.
Well,
But you've never called me.
But because I don't have anything like of great importance to like say, hey, we got to talk right now. Like if I'm texting you like, hey, we're gonna do this shoot at 7:00 tomorrow.
Or
morning,
I didn't. Or I
like,
didn't.
You
or
look
I
at
didn't,
it when you're available.
Or I didn't like using an apostrophe.
But if I were to be like, Damon, like this, what can be taken out of context in text? Like when I know your trends, like, okay, you use exclamation points a lot when you text. Just say that you do. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, sounds good, exclamation point. And then later on, I just get like, okay. Then I'd be like,
on, man.
Is he mad at me? Like
yeah.
if
I hear you. I hear you.
And so like that's why I'm a phone call guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know based
you don't
on
want
tone,
anything lost in translation.
Uh-huh.
Isn't the worst form of the greatest? I think the greatest foible in communication is to assume that it happened. Mm-hmm. Right? Because we forget that it's a two-way street. It's not just a person talking, but it goes back to what I was joking about the other day where I said, at some point, you have to listen to understand as opposed to listening to needing a reply. So that was a lot of yesterday, right? And it was like everybody wanted to be right. And I just kind of laid in the cut because I'm like,
everybody.
Well, this is what I know for sure. But I didn't want to invite that conversation either. And I think we were hung up on how long you need to meet in advance. Does everybody need to be there? What constitutes an open meeting? It was so ridiculous because people wanted to be right. It turned into minutia. So I just was like, oh, this is funny.
You want it now. You want the news now. You want to be right. It was more of an overreaction over anything else.
Yeah,
but I think
and during the Benning Bites yesterday, this is real time, which was probably 10-something. Mm-hmm. I said,
people are antsy, though.
I said, hey, like Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Pump the brakes. Nothing is happening.
Hey.
Right. Now,
exactly. What's up, DC? I will see you next Thursday.
Now, Brandon.
And they're hot.
Yes.
Brandon Vogel was on Hail Varsity Radio with Chris Schmidt.
We love Brandon Vogelli.
And, if you want to sign up for HailVarsity.com, use the promo code AR, not DB.
No, we want to use the promo code DB.
No, we need AR. A comes first in the alphabet. You want to be first on the mailing list at HailVarsity.com.
But how about in its totality? Because D and B are like in the first 6 letters of the alphabet.
You didn't go in order. Like, now you have to start over. You go to D, and then you got to go through the alphabet again to get to B.
Could I get you 2 for 1? Like, what if we were graduating? I would go first.
Yeah, you would go first.
Right.
You would go.
Although
first.
I'd probably have a lower GPA.
All
Does
I'm
that
saying
matter?
is use AR, use DB. We're having a little bit of a competition here. If you want to be a part of the dark horse team, then go my route. If you want to choose the favorite, which tends to be DB more often than not, go DB's way. But this is what Vogel said on the radio show.
We don't have any Darth Vader. Because I think, who would be Darth Vader in this one? Me
well, you know that's my guy, but no.
Would it be me or AR? Neither?
I'm definitely Luke.
Why?
You're my father.
Luke.
Wow.
So, but wait, though. I don't think I like Darth Vader.
Nobody really likes Darth Vader.
No, he has a lot of fans.
Well, but he had a great actor.
I'm not a huge
him.
Star Wars guy to begin with.
Oh, don't tell the little
Darth Vader
Ewok over here.
Darth Vader had a great actor portraying him. So I mean, that's good. That's good shoes to follow in.
Great portrayal actor, you Darth Vader.
Why do you sound like Kermit?
It's not easy being green.
Anyway, let me get back on this point. So Vogel had said he was answering a question that was fired his direction about Mickey Joseph and another coaching option out there. Mm-hmm. And he had mentioned a couple of things that stood out to me, but instead of jumping just in defense mode, it really got me into reflect mode over anything else. And he said,
I woke up in reflect mode.
He said, Mickey Joseph, by retaining him, you avoid massive turnover with the roster, which to a degree is good. But in a way, I feel you need turnover on this roster. You need some new bodies in there. Gaps are still a necessity to be filled. But you also run the risk of losing some top recruits that he's attained over his interim tenure so far. Mm-hmm. And that's if he doesn't stay on staff in some way, shape, or form. So it got me thinking, like, wow, you know, that's really desirable about Mickey. Not only is he such a straight-up guy, he's a great recruiter, as we've been talking about, but, you know, he just keeps it real with this team. But he also genuinely cares in everything that he does. That is some of my favorite ways to attribute Mickey Joseph. And hear me out here. You won't get a coaching, like a head coach lock mid-season unless it's Mickey Joseph. Nobody's going to come out and say, like, hey, Matt Rule, you're the head coach of Nebraska before the Minnesota series. You're not going to do that. You're going to wait till the end of the season because what are you telling your guy that's been leading this team the past few weeks? You're not going to get an announcement about a coach unless it's Mickey Joseph midseason.
You want a hot take?
Let's hear it.
What's that?
So I've thought about this a while, right? I was talking about this with my lawyer who's actually become a really good friend. And I think there's this perception that whatever the hire is it's Trev's one chance to get it right.
Not true.
I would completely agree with that. Only if it goes in this order. I would make the case to you. If Trev picked up the phone yesterday and he's talking with a couple of players, if you will.
Luke Reimer, Casey Thompson.
And he's like, hey, listen, you know what, Jim Pillin? Let me run this idea by a couple of you guys. I could see I want to make Mickey Joseph the head coach of the University of Nebraska. I want to surround him with this amount of money for pool of assistants. We're going to do this and this and this in this direction, and we're going to do this. And I want to see if this can work over the next 3 or 4 years. And if it doesn't work,
he gets another chance to hire a big
I
name
think
guy.
he gets another chance to hire a big name guy.
But if you start with the big name
guy,
guy,
if you start with
100%,
right? Is
100%,
that so?
You could not be more right.
I'm telling you, right? Like, I don't have to be first, but I'd rather be right than well liked. And I just think you're trending in the right direction. You already know.
It's a riskier play to go after a Matt Campbell, Matt Rule, Lance Leipold, whoever you want to say in that conversation. It's riskier to go that route because you know what you're going to get out of Mickey right now. You know what he brings to the table.
And so this is to go super micro here.
He's also still Nebraska royalty.
To go super micro, you know your head coach's personality traits. You know his strengths. You know his weaknesses. Do you know what you can do when you know what you're dealing with? You can supplement, not supplant. Because if you supplant, you're getting a whole new case of variables. I think you have a pretty good idea of what this head coach potentially would bring to the table. So you could say, hey, this is the DC I want to surround him with. This is the OC that I want to surround him with. Based on the way that he plays, this is what we need to do with strength and conditioning. This is what we need to do with recruiting. Mm-hmm. Like,
I think you could get a great bang for your buck, too, with Mickey to surround him with maybe some bigger named coordinators out there where you can put more money
if
left
you
and
think,
right.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. Let's say if you're in the Mickey camp, are you disappointed that he would be the face or the voice of your program?
No.
Let's say you're anti-Coach Joseph. Are you disappointed that he would be the face or the voice of your program? See, that's what I think. All by society, and that's my guy, right?
Yeah, and he's not my guy, and I just answered that question lickety-split.
You didn't even bat an eye at it. No. Because what he stands for is authenticity.
What he stands for is what I stand by.
That's a beautiful way to put it. That's the authenticity piece that I think Nebraska's been missing. You know what else I think they've been missing? They haven't had a grinder. I mean a guy.
Not lately.
I mean a grinder, greasy, grimy gopher guts, right, that's going to hang in there, that understands the delicate balance of coaching versus family, but is going to lay it on the line to give this team a chance to win, right? I gave you the analogy of courting the superstar versus settling for lunch. That's the type of guy that's going to give it everything he has to date the superstar versus settling for lunch. He's not a settle for lunch kind of guy.
And you know I'm a huge interim guy because interims fight tooth and nail to get that head coaching job and to keep that head coaching job. We've seen more often than not those that have been comfortable in a head coaching role may get a little bit lazy with how they do their business. They may take a back seat to certain things that they should, keep at the top of mind. And what I like about interims is there's always that desire to be better, go after that better top recruit.
And to be honest, I think full disclosure, I think we had to give this 2 or 3 weeks.
And I've never been in the Mickey Joseph camp until I have never been in his camp until last week.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I think, I put him in my top 5 from the jump.
Well, and
right?
he was in mine too because I was like, he's going to be a finalist, but I was never, hey, don't go after the big name guy, get Mickey. I'm probably now more in the position to say, I like Mickey as the next guy.
I just think in a position of leadership, if I'm Trev, I try to always get my arms around predictive outcomes. And I play the percentages. And I know it's easy for sometimes folks in the fan base to say, go big or go home. But you can't really roll the dice and be wrong. Right? So if you're going to try to limit the variables, what's the best way to do that?
And I'm not retracting my bid on Matt Rule. I still think Matt Rule would be an awesome fit here in Nebraska. And this was another.
And you and I have never agreed on that, and that's okay because I do like Matt Rule. He just wasn't in my top 5.
Right. And the knock on him, at least the things that have been sparked up lately, and I've seen more than just one person say it, is that he didn't beat any ranked teams at Baylor.
Yeah.
Okay, look. He went
didn't have a ton of opportunities at it either.
No, because he went 1-11 his first year. His second year was either 7-6, 6-7, somewhere around that, and his final year was 11-3. Mm-hmm. He had 3 one-score losses against top 10 teams. I know that sounds like nails on a chalkboard, and I said this on the Sports Six Pack, nails on a chalkboard to Nebraska fans when you hear, oh my gosh, 1-loss scores to teams, ranked teams, whatever it is. Yes, Scott Frost did it twice last year, and I didn't give him enough credit on the six-pack last year, but a lot of that was also because of how well Chenander's defense was playing too.
No, absolutely not.
But think about what Matt Rule did in the Big 12 championship game. He took that game to overtime in his final season. He had a winning season, too, on top of it all. He won games. That's why I'm like, why are we talking about he didn't beat a ranked team?
Remember when we talked about my personality, kind of what I'm about? The E + R = 0. See, if the desired outcome is to win and the event is hiring the coach, do you know what my response is going to be that I can control? The E + R = 0? To support that guy. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to do.
I just don't like the conversation of, just because you didn't beat a ranked team that you're not a
good
football
and I just don't think – and I said this before. I told you this 3 weeks ago. We're not in a position as a fan base to be getting into the minutia about what somebody can or can't do when we can't get out of our own way the last 10 years, right? That's a long time for ineptitude. So I just don't feel good. I mean, if I had $12 in my bank account, I'm not going to criticize you on how you spend your money. It's just the nature of my personality.
Now transitioning to Saturday, DB, game against Minnesota. We had chatted a little bit on Wednesday, and it came as a bit of a surprise to me that you were in total agreement with me. But
I was in agreement.
Agreement with me?
Yes.
Minnesota is the most likely win left on Nebraska's schedule. I want to know why you think so too.
Because they don't throw the ball more than 10 yards downfield. So, and when they do, it's a recipe for disaster. So they're not the type of offense that is going to just be super dynamic where Nebraska can't. You're not going to see what you saw against Illinois with, kind of those man beaters and those crossing routes, and they don't have an Isaiah Williams on the outside. They've got a great tight end, and they've got 3 great running backs. And so as long as you can stop hyphenated guys and multiple running backs, I think you have a chance to hang in this football game. And remember, Minnesota's the only team that's as bad as Nebraska in terms of getting after the quarterback. Now, what Nebraska has to find a way to do is to not give the ball away. If you're a -6 or 7 like Nebraska and you're going against a +3 in Minnesota, you have to take care of the ball. But stylistically in the matchup, if Nebraska knows what they're going to get, and it's not going to deviate. Minnesota's going to squeeze the rock. They're going to run the rock. They're not going to throw the ball downfield. You're going to get a ton of RPOs. I just think it's not a game plan in which Nebraska doesn't know what they're doing. Now, when I look at Michigan, pretty dynamic on both sides of the ball, especially up front. When I look at Wisconsin, that has been your nemesis since the bane of your existence, since you've been in the Big Ten. And when I look at Iowa, it is on the road in Iowa City against a team that I don't care how bad they have been offensively this year.
They don't give up points. They don't give up yards.
They're good in special teams. You don't move the ball on them, and they've owned you psychologically. So I think it's almost by default that Minnesota is the most likely thing to happen.
And Wisconsin, to add to your point, is second in the FBS with 14 INTs. They're going to win the turnover battle in that game. Yeah. And that's something that we proclaim every week on this show is if Nebraska could win the turnover battle, that'll give them the best chance of winning. And we haven't seen that. Tanner Morgan tossed 2 picks last year, which made things interesting in that game. The Huskers almost won that game against Minnesota. Here's how I think you beat Minnesota. You get on the board early. You get points on the board early, and then you force Tanner Morgan to throw the football to win. You essentially take Mo Ibrahim out of the game. You can't physically take him out of the game because they will use him. He is a bruiser, and they'll continue to use him all game long. But if you can get up 10 points maybe in the third quarter, they may move away from running the football at 3 straight plays to get a first down. And that's, I think, of great importance to own the time of possession and get on the board early. Minnesota is one of the best time of possession teams in football. Why? Because they run the ball all the dang time. They have 3 great running backs. As you said, 2 of them are just standoutish is how you can put it. Of what I think Nebraska needs to do now is get Anthony Grant going again. Mickey Joseph always says it's a copycat league. You start with Illinois, you move to Minnesota. You know what you're going to get. You basically played Minnesota last week, right? Now you get to play Minnesota. They have a better secondary, less of a pass rush, can give Trey Palmer, Marcus Washington, Vokalek those opportunities to get open more. Maybe give Purdy, Smothers, maybe Casey Thompson, whoever's playing at quarterback, more time to make a decision, collect himself, make a good throw, not turn the football over. I think there's just a lot of advantages when it comes to playing Minnesota, and there's no reason they should be a 3-score favorite in this game. There's no reason. I don't care if it's because of the quarterback uncertainties or not. There's 0 reason they should be -16.
Yeah, there's not a snowball's chance, and heck, I would lay the 16.
I'd take Nebraska +16 before anything.
Yeah,
else.
so that's the thing. This is a 27-17 kind of game. I think Nebraska they'll compete at a super high level. And who knows what we're going to get from Casey Thompson. But I don't worry about Minnesota literally running away from Nebraska. And I know what happens when Mo gets to 20-plus carries. He gets 100 yards, and he's getting ready to close in on 17 consecutive 100-yard games, which doesn't happen a ton. And I know what he brings to the table. He's fantastic. I've seen him in person multiple times. I saw him at Big Ten Media Days a couple years ago. He's a little strong dude. Huge legs, great willpower. He's tremendous in the weight room. He understands the design of that run game. But, man, there's just no way in good faith I could lay the 16.
Mo Ibrahim, second in yards per game in the Big Ten, 1 spot behind Illinois' Chase Brown. and 4th nationally. However, he has done so with less carries, and he's more of a TD guy. Ibrahim is a
Yeah, he
complete
finds
beast.
the end zone.
Career-wise, he's the better back. He'll eclipse 4,000 career yards this weekend, no problem. That being said, I live in the present, DB, and I still think Chase Brown is the top running back in the Big Ten West.
I don't know if I could.
I look at him more in the position that he's in, and he doesn't have the carriage of players behind him to help maybe provide some different looks. Chase is the only guy that Illinois has and uses, which is why his usage is so high and his yards per carry can lack in that department, although statistically they're matched up pretty close to one another, averaging a little over 5 yards per carry.
Not a hill I'm willing to die on, but I'll take Mo if I had a game to play.
Yeah, I just like when I think of Chase Brown, he's more of a receiving back than Mo, but I think that's because Illinois uses him more as a receiving back.
Absolutely.
Mo could easily be a receiving
part of
back.
That's part of it.
And as I did research, and I'm going to full disclosure with you, I gave you all of those points based on statistically this year. I still would give the edge to Chase Brown, but if we are looking at totality, career, if we're looking at, hey, I'm drafting between Chase Brown and Mo Ibrahim when it comes to the NFL draft, I'm going to take Mo Ibrahim.
Yeah, there's
I
no
changed
question.
my mind.
There's no question.
I don't think it gets close.
If I have a game to win, give me that guy.
Mo. He's a great running back. He's a great. I sat back and I reflected and I looked at Ashley on my couch and I said, dang it, I'm going to have to go into DB and tell him that I agree. And I hate agreeing.
I agree. Shane, we don't have that little Nicki Minaj. Hut one.
Yeah, I miss her.
Oh, I agree.
I miss her all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't.
Now, DB, we did this last week. I want to do it one more time before we wrap this thing up. Score prediction for this weekend.
Let's go 28-17 Minnesota.
I'm going to say 23-20
I like that.
Nebraska.
Ooh, picking the upset.
Yep. I'm going to take the upset because it seems as if when a team is favored by this many points in a game that they shouldn't be, it's going to come down to whoever gets the ball last.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say. I watched Houston and Philadelphia play football last night, and Houston played a much better football game than people gave them credit for going in against a team that had all of their players. Houston had hardly anybody and any of their weapons on the football field, and they still put up a fight. I look at Nebraska, and I think the same thing. They're discounting the fact that, hey, they may not have their best guy at the helm commanding the offense if Casey can't go, but that's not to say that now that more reps came for Smothers and Purdy in practice, they can't be good quarterbacks too.
Yeah, from your lips to God's ears. I would like nothing more than to be wrong about tomorrow because it'll make the day go a lot easier. I mean, your boy will be on air tomorrow at 7 a.m.
And you're starting basically – I'm sure your prep has already begun.
Oh, yeah.
But you start by playing a state football game tonight.
Against Lincoln Southwest.
Quarterfinals, right?
Correct.
Lincoln Southwest at home. It's going to be cold.
Love it.
Are you guys
It's going to be rainy.
Love it.
Makes for a great game plan for you.
Absolutely.
You're also kind of on the verge of coming off of a sickness. Do you think you get over the hump tonight before 6 a.m. wake-up call tomorrow? I don't know.
My coach Samanji, said it's mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. So as long as my voice holds up, because I've never had to take care of it before. I mean, you professionals, you know, the tea and the honey and all of that.
I did the sorority girl trick.
I've never been that guy, but I am actually for
do you
the
sleep
first.
with a humidifier?
Yes, I do.
See,
I
that's
am
what
also
I need.
for the first time concerned about my voice tomorrow.
You'll be fine.
Well, let's
Just
hope you're
don't
right.
yell a lot tonight at Westside.
Whoa, have you not seen me, Coach? Although I'm not a yeller, that's okay.
We'll be all right.
But we'll see.
Do you feel like you have wandering eyes when you're a coach?
No.
I think you do.
Do I?
Well, it's just funny because like when you got feisty at one point, like you were like, "Oh my gosh, man, you got to make that play," and like you looked around for somebody to give you reassurance.
maybe. So
I don't know if it's just like, you just pan and like, disappointment, and it wasn't like you were mad at whoever missed like their block or whatever, but you were just like, dude, you got to make that play, and you're looking around like, right, guys?
That's funny. Because I mean, maybe.
Don't be self-conscious about that now. Maybe.
Yeah, and I could tell you, like, in my head, like, when you say that to me, I could get zero cares. Because I think it's like most things. Like, if I say it, I believe it. But that is interesting. I don't know. I don't watch myself.
I just saw you made eye contact with me one time, and I just smiled because I'm like, man, he does look around a lot.
Just remember what T. Fraser would say.
What's that?
Ain't nobody can do it like you can, 2-1.
Yeah, that's my guy. I'll see him on Sunday. That is my dude.
Yeah, Westside going to take home the win tomorrow? Tonight, rather?
Well, let's hope so. Sets up a showdown for the winner of Grand Island and Millard South, and we are 1 week closer to getting my kiddo back, who is now officially practicing in just helmets.
Let's go!
Man,
CB.
That would be a shot in the arm.
Is that because your left arm's been hurting you today?
Yeah. I mean, it's just our culture, right?
Yeah.
We talk about brotherhood, and we got your six and things like that.
I will say, watching Caleb on the bench, he is a true leader.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I love seeing how engaged he is in the game, just all the while knowing that he wishes that he was also in the game.
Yeah.
Because of the competitor in him. But the way that he stepped up in a leadership role while hurt, dude, I mean, it's crazy watching how he reacts, even when, the second stringers come in.
Yeah,
and fill some spots.
It's pivotal, too, for us because, I mean, he patrolled that secondary, and he knows a lot what's going on. And so sometimes he's a different set of eyes, and he's a peer. So I think sometimes he can get to him a little quicker than we can. Yeah.
Well, good luck tonight at Westside. Good luck tomorrow on the call. Hopefully your voice is all fine and dandy on your way up.
Let's make it happen, Captain.
Drink something hot on the way up. I know you're not
like,
a dark
what would
guy.
that be? So you know what somebody told me,
tequila.
and I've never been there. I would never drink warm tequila. But you know what somebody told me? They said, and I'm not a coffee guy, so this would be new, but they said there's a medicine ball.
Oh, medicine ball tea.
At Starbucks.
Really good.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, you would like it. It's got like lemonade in it.
Is there honey?
I think so.
No disrespect, Mariah Carey. She's a honey person, right, Shane? Shane doesn't know.
Medicine ball tea, Starbucks.
This is a big deal.
Oh, what's up, T.O.?
You can always look something up here. So it's steamed lemonade, hot water, jade citrus mint green tea, peach tranquility tea, and honey. Really good. Really good. I actually did that when I had a viral infection last year.
Yeah?
Game changer.
Well,
Really
let's
is.
go. Maybe I'll hit some medicine balls.
Yeah. So get your medicine ball tea, rest up as much as you can. I know you're not much of a sleeper to begin with, and you'll probably be thinking.
Been real bad this week.
You'll be reflecting about the football game tonight, and then go into tomorrow's game and be like, man, it's just another day in another day in paradise. Another day in paradise.
Excited today.
Me too.
Good luck to all of the other high school teams out there as well. Good luck to the Huskers, of course, tomorrow against Minnesota. We'll be back on Monday morning. Dump, always here for you. Wipe, get on with your day. We'll see you then.